Have you ever heard of Obinna? Maybe not, but you definitely know the worlds it built. Imagine, if you will, a single company owning almost everything you love to watch. Think about the shows that made you laugh after school, the characters you dressed up as for Halloween, the games that kept you up all night. For a moment in time, one company, Obinna, held the keys to all of it. They were a titan, a giant hiding in plain sight. They had Cartoon Network. They had Nickelodeon. They even had the spooky world of Five Nights at Freddy's and the trendy styles of On's outfit. It was honestly an empire of entertainment, a kingdom of cool. And it all started with a simple, brilliant idea. This is the story of how Obinna changed everything. We're going to take you on a journey. A journey back to a time when this small company had a huge dream. They wanted to bring all the best entertainment under one roof. It seemed impossible. Obinna didn't start as a giant. It began in a humble office, founded by a visionary named Kalen Shaw. Shaw saw a disconnected world, kids who loved FNF, kids watching Cartoon Network, teens buying On's outfit, teens tuning into Nickelodeon. Why were these worlds separate? Shaw's big idea: bring them together. First move: acquire On's outfit. On's outfit, trendy online clothing brand, gave Obinna a direct line to fashion, not just cartoons. Lifestyle, smart strategic first step. Next, gaming. Target, Five Nights at Freddy's. It was a huge risk. FNAF, a digital phenomenon. Obinna saw the massive fan base. They saw the lore and endless potential. Acquiring FNAF equals foothold in gaming. They weren't afraid to think outside the box. Fashion and gaming, empire forming. Then, the big shocks. Audacious, unbelievable. Cartoon Network acquired. Home of classic and modern animation. Nickelodeon purchased. They now controlled the vast majority of what kids were watching on television. For a few glorious years, Obinna could do no wrong. This was their golden age. With all these amazing brands under one roof, they began to work their magic. The secret to their initial success was synergy. But it was a synergy that felt authentic, not forced. Imagine a world where your favorite On's outfit designs were suddenly available as skins in a new Five Nights at Freddy's game, or a special crossover event where characters from Cartoon Network shows made surprise appearances in a Nickelodeon series. Obinna made these fan dreams a reality. They broke down the walls between worlds, creating a shared universe of entertainment that felt exciting and new. The creative teams were energized. Obinna poured money into its new properties, giving creators the freedom and resources they had always wanted. Cartoon Network saw a boom in bold, new animated series that pushed the boundaries of storytelling, reminiscent of its own celebrated past. Nickelodeon, meanwhile, launched a slate of live-action shows that felt fresh and relevant to a new generation. On's outfit collaborated directly with the showrunners, creating clothing lines inspired by the new hits. You could literally wear your favorite show. It was a brilliant cycle of content and commerce, and it worked perfectly. Fans were happy. Creators were happy. The profits soared. For a while, Obinna created a perfect world where everything you loved was connected, celebrated, and better than ever. It was the peak of the mountain. But, the view from the top can be deceiving. The first cracks in Obinna's perfect kingdom began to appear slowly, almost unnoticeably. The magic of synergy started to feel less like a fun crossover and more like a corporate mandate. The pressure to make everything connect began to stifle creativity. A new Cartoon Network show would be required to include a character designed for merch like an On's outfit hoodie. The art was no longer leading the commerce. The commerce was dictating the art. This shift began to frustrate the creators. The writers who had once felt so much freedom now felt constrained. The artists who had once felt so much freedom now felt constrained. The showrunners who had once felt so much freedom now felt constrained. Their unique visions were being sanded down by marketing teams. A dark and complex Cartoon Network storyline might be rejected for not fitting a Nickelodeon crossover brand. The special, unique voices of each brand started to get quieter, blending into a single, generic Obinna tone. The result was content that felt safe, predictable, and worst of all, boring. The spark that had ignited the golden age was beginning to fade. Fans started to notice too. Crossovers that once felt like special events now felt constant and cheap. The cracks were getting wider, and the foundation of the kingdom was starting to shake. The end for Obinna came swiftly. The growing fan discontent turned into open rebellion. Hashtag #FreeCN trended for weeks. Hashtag #NotMyNick trended for weeks. Viewership plummeted. The once unstoppable synergy machine was now producing shows nobody wanted to watch, and products nobody wanted to buy. The latest FNAF game, burdened with awkward tie-ins, was a critical and commercial failure. The magic was gone. The company that had perfectly captured the youth market was now hopelessly out of touch. The symphony was out of tune. Faced with massive financial losses and a public relations nightmare, Obinna's leadership panicked. They made things worse. Instead of listening and course-correcting, they doubled down. They blamed the fans for not getting it. The company's stock price collapsed. Investors, seeing the writing on the wall, pulled out. The giant was on its knees, and there was no one left to help it up. The only option was to dismantle the empire. In a series of painful and public sales, Obinna was forced to sell off the very brands it had so proudly collected. Cartoon Network was sold. Nickelodeon was sold. The FNAF rights were sold back to its original creator. Obinna, the company that once owned everything, was left with nothing. The story of Obinna, as we look back on it today in 2025, is a powerful lesson. Stay true to your voice, because the moment you lose it, you lose everything.